Okay, so we're recording, and this is the Tania and Tanya show, and I'm so excited. Um, I was counting on you to be wearing these.
Oh, I didn't even think about you and these, and here they are.
Well,
Oh,
I did. So this is how I know Tanya. It's not just a shopping adventure. We met in India, actually in India, uh, on a Dr. Sue Journey Awake. And it didn't take us too long to figure out that we are both jewelry hounds, and you so much that we had to call us different things, right? So I was always wearing a camera, and you were always wearing many malas and beautiful jewelry all the time, and hands everywhere. So we called you Tanya Jewelry, and I was Tanya Camera.
that's right.
And so the rubies, which we both had, Danny found the rubies first, right?
Yeah,
So Danny, we were somewhere. Was it Rishikesh or before that?
I think
I think it
maybe
was before Rishikesh. We went someplace. Danny found these extraordinary rubies, and there were no more. There was one mala.
you know
And
what it was Rishikesh.
it was okay. So it was the store where everyone found all of the beautiful things. But there
It
was
was.
only that one strand of the ruby mala. And
That's right.
you and I were on a mission to find our own. And we found another store, I think also in Rishikesh.
You found it.
I found this other store that was very cool, very like cool, modern, sort of modern-ish. Um, and
Yeah, very chic, boutique.
I found this necklace, which really is only this necklace. So it's only this. And I found three of them.
Right.
And because we were looking for longer, we really wanted longer. So what I did was I thought, well, I'll take two and I'll put them together at the clasp. And this will be my mala, and this will have to do, and maybe I'll get it restrung, or I don't know. Exactly. There you go. There's my sister.
Aren't they just so magnificent?
Oh,
Oh,
beautiful. They look even better in your light than my light. But
oh,
yeah,
I
so
can feel you.
there were only three, and I was insisting that you take two, and you were insisting that I take two, and you won. And so I took the two, and you took the one, and then you negotiated with the man who was selling them,
You
or
know what?
a different
You
man.
you were convinced that there was going to be another one exactly like the three that we had.
Mm.
And I was new to manifesting, and I was just letting you manifest. And I don't know where that other one came from.
Oh, I know exactly where it came from.
Okay,
Yeah.
from the same store, or
No, it wasn't even the same store. So what happened was the guy that was selling malas to everyone else in the other store, he came up to our hotel and brought all of his jewelry and laid it all out. And I think that's when you said, I want this. Can you give me this? Because he brought all that jewelry. I thought for sure we would find what you wanted when he came to, sell us more. And he didn't have it. And
right?
you said, could you do this? Could you make this? And he's like, yes, of course. Yes, of course. And somehow, as we were leaving Rishikesh, we were up at that hotel overlooking the Ganges, and we took the buses down, and we were leaving. We were headed to the airport, and the buses pulled over on the side of the road, and I couldn't figure out why. And it was for you to get your necklace delivered into the bus.
So it was I was in a car actually.
Oh,
So
okay.
it was a caravan, and so everybody had to pull over because our car pulled over
Right,
because we needed to stay together.
right.
And it was like a drug deal. I'm handing money out the window, and they're handing me this package, and I opened it, and there they were. Because I had two beautiful strands of the set, that started out as short necklaces. So that's how it was, and it was totally like a drug deal. And I've had other experiences like that in other countries. that felt like a total drug deal.
Yeah.
But I'm so grateful for you that you didn't give up, because I kind of let it go,
You did give up, and I felt so guilty I could not give up.
Why did you feel guilty? You're the one that found these. I was so grateful to
I
you.
know, but we both needed to have them. And and then there was the day we were doing yoga, and I said, let's play a trick on Danny. And do you remember that?
I vaguely do, remind
Okay,
me.
so we did yoga, and he his rubies became his sacred necklace, and he took them off at some point during yoga, and then during savasana, and somehow I gestured to you, and I was like, Tanya,
Oh, take it.
take it. And after savasana, he said, I know what you girls did.
And he knew it was one of the Tanyas that took
He knew
it.
it was us because we were so obsessed with those. They were so beautiful because rubies are a heart chakra activating stone, right?
Right.
And that whole trip was about, well,
Right.
that trip was about everything, if you ask me.
Absolutely. And what I love about ours is that they don't have a tassel. Because
Oh,
who
well,
gives a tassel?
I love the tassels. I have tassel. Here's a tassel.
You do too.
Everything I'm wearing came from India. So, one of my favorites is topaz for grounding. Then I have my rubies. I am always wearing labradorite. So this one has a tassel.
Oh, that's beautiful.
But I buy labradorite so often that, as it turns out, I already had one, and I thought the one I was buying in India was different, and it was basically the same. But I love to wear them together.
That's funny. I'm wearing some raw rubies that I'm going to give a shout out to Laura Alexander, because she just sent these to me a couple days ago in the mail.
What?
Yeah, so these are Swarovski crystals and raw ruby. They're cut rubies, but they're raw. So they're like our necklace, just teeny tiny, 4 millimeter. And she just sent them to me in the mail, and I'm
How
wearing them all.
amazing. Well, it's funny, my dad makes jewelry, so we talk a lot about stones, and he was a rock collector as a kid, so and he'll say, oh, well, that's just corundum and it's very hard, and he'll talk about the hardness scale, and he can just spout out all of the physical properties of pretty much any stone. I mean, he can look at anything and identify it. I'm pretty sure this is tanzanite, but
Oh, really? Ooh,
yeah.
is it kind of purple?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I'm looking forward to seeing that in
Yeah.
person.
Well, it's funny because, there, I don't know if you saw my little boxes that I have on one of the other, I forget who I was showing them to, maybe Amy. But I have two, I made a second sample box. So this is a little box I made out of wood with one of my photos on it.
Yeah, the one that's above your
This
dress.
one, oh, there's my other, this is the one I was wearing in India, and actually I wore it so much it broke. So then I had to restring it myself. This was also labradorite. And I added some ancient, not ancient, but some like vintage beads from Thailand that I found to this one. But yes, I like to have, now I have this new kind of special secret hiding place, not so secret anymore.
One thing that I did not get a good look at is where you have your mall is hanging. I just couldn't see it, because all mine are over there, and it's like, woo, they're radiating all their divine energy.
I will show it to you. I'll probably take a nice picture and make it an Instagram post or something. I have two, what do you call them? Mannequins, for sewing, where I store them. One is wrapped in like a natural fiber rattan something. I feel like that one came from Pottery Barn or something. But the other one is an actual sort of vintage mannequin. So those two ladies hold everything.
Well, I'm going to send you a picture, and I'm not on Instagram, so I'm going to need to learn that system. But I'll send you a picture of mine, because I have a picture of Dr. Sue right there. And it's one that you did not take and one that you don't really like, but I like it. So
which one? that I don't want?
She, she has very short hair. It's a close up, so it's just like her face and her hands. But she has this coral blouse on.
The coral or the pink, the really bright pink?
Well, it could be bright pink.
Yeah.
You'll see it.
I know that
You-
it's the one that used to be her main. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So.
yeah. No, I like that picture. There's a lot of energy in that picture. I don't think the pink is the right color for her. That's my only thing about that picture. But I love the energy in her eyes, and the color of her eyes is like incredible. So yeah, she's our other Scorpio sister. Do you remember when we took the photo of all the Scorpios on that trip?
I'll have to, I've never looked back at my pictures, Tanya.
Well, yeah, let's not talk about those. Let's not talk about the book that Tanya didn't make, or the pictures that Tanya hasn't.
Yet.
Yes, let's not talk about it too much, though. I mean, I'm actually working on a wedding album for someone from a wedding that was 12 or 15 years ago. And most photographers probably couldn't even come up with the photos. And I'm like, oh yeah, no problem. I got that. Sure, I can do that 15 years ago and just snap back into that mindset. And it's actually kind of fun, I think, to have that. And they now have 3 kids. So it's a whole different vibe. And it's funny because the things that are important to you shift a lot, as you go through life.
Right. I think it would be actually, it's always, to me, I want to express from my now. And so the fact that you're doing it now, you're expressing from your new expanded now that you've never been before. And so I think the work will be even more perfect.
I think you're right, actually. I think that seeing, you're talking about the India pictures now.
No, well, and the wedding photo album.
Yeah, well, I think you're right. I think I see my own work with new eyes and differently. And I mean, I swear, I go back and I look at some of the pictures I've taken and just say, wow, like, wow, did I take that? I mean, that took my breath away. And I didn't even think they were a big deal in the moment.
Well, I look at the stuff that you've sent me from India and I think, wow, is that really me? Because it looks so good.
Oh gosh, the one in the river, that was just the bomb. I loved that. But actually I loved the blue one as well. And then you said something so interesting, which was that you feel like a completely different person now.
Oh.
And that was 4 years ago. Right? I know I'm a different person, but I thought you were already all that.
Well, I was all that, but just coming from protective personality, which is fine. That's where we come from until our come from shifts.
Oh, I didn't feel you that way at all.
Oh, well, but it's true. I mean, we can be healers and do energy medicine and coach and give divine wisdom through our protective personality and be very effective. And we're not as effective until we drop in and we can move and come from our essential self. And that just happened to me in Costa Rica, a month ago.
Yes, I remember you said that Costa Rica was the big switch for you.
Totally the biggest shift ever. And I've had a lot, you've seen me go through my, slug on the belly, leaving a snail trail, total splat, to flying high, to splatting again. And this was miraculous.
So what happened in Costa Rica?
Well, what happened was I'd spent from November 2nd until I scraped myself off my bed, the end of February, incapacitated in bed. And I wanted to cancel going to Costa Rica because I wasn't physically able to even hardly stand up long enough to even brush my teeth or wash my face at that point. And a few weeks before Costa Rica, I called Glennis in the office and I asked her if I could bail. And she said, sure, you can cancel, but you're just going to lose $2,000. And I thought, well, that's something. So I guess I'll go. and I needed wheelchair assistance at the airport. Oh yeah.
What were you incapacitated from?
Well, I know now, but I didn't know at the time. I just had a huge energetic hole blasted through my solar plexus from my husband. And I can go into that, but none of the story really matters.
Mhm.
Um, but essentially, it was the first time that I didn't understand why I was crashed. And the other times over the last year and a half, I was having physical issues. So to me, they had an edge I can grip onto. There was I didn't know when I would find the edge, but I sprained my foot. I had bleeding lungs and I was in the hospital. And yeah, so I'm one of those high risk COVID,
Yeah.
COVID people, and I'm not worried about it. But and then I was in a car accident. This guy was in the center lane and did a hard right in front of me in my brand new car. And it was totaled. And I had a concussion and crushed ribs from the airbag. And
Oh,
so, all those situations are physical. And so I knew that my body's going to heal. I didn't know how long. And it did take, I think the magic number for me is like 2.5 months of incapacitation. So this last time, I my husband had misheard me and just came from his old patterning and blasted me. And it was as if a cannonball shot through my solar plexus, and all my issues were like entrails hanging out of that gaping hole. So all the shame and the abandonment and the betrayal and the not good enough, all that old stuff came gushing out of me. And I just fell into this really dark depression. I was actually hoping on the way to Costa Rica, I'm like, please let me catch coronavirus so that it can just take me out once and for all. That's
wow.
where I was. And then I needed help walking. So, Andrea, one of the village people, she had to actually help me walk because I was looking for a different place to sleep because I I'm so grateful I didn't move, but I was sharing a small bungalow room with two other women at Costa Rica, and across the hallway there were three other women. So there were six of us sharing a bathroom that was large enough. It was perfect, but energetically, I didn't feel strong enough to deal with other people's energy plus my own.
Right.
And so, sorry this is taking so long, but
No.
so then 2 days after getting to Costa Rica to the resort, I had this massive opening. I dropped into myself, embodied like never before, and I was totally changed.
So, but is there a how that happened? First of all, did you move from the
No,
room 6 to your own place?
no, I stayed, and I'm so grateful I did because I roomed with Ileana and Lara,
Hmm.
and across the hall was Debbie Bliss and Pauline Friesen, and Deborah Malay.
Hmm. Okay, I know all those people.
Yeah, and they're lovely, and I would have missed out on so much had I moved.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So
But
there was it just during coursework, during yoga, something happened?
I don't even remember, but I think it was, I don't think you've done this. It's a type of breathing where you breathe through an intubation tube.
Yes, I have.
Oh, you have?
Yes, I did it at her house.
Okay.
Yeah, I never quite got there. Like I remember her trying to help me. Um, yeah, I didn't have the experience I knew some people were having because I was
I,
always trying too hard.
I never did either, but it was afterwards. I think it was afterwards that I dropped in. And so luckily, Suzanne Waller was sitting right next to me in the back of the room. And I'm just shaking and bawling. And I just went and I said, do you mind helping me anchor what's coming through right now? And she goes, sure. And so we were holding hands, and I'm just so, it makes me cry now. I was in the deepest gratitude for all of the column crashes that I've had for my whole life, for one thing, but particularly this one that I just went through. And I just could understand that Dr. Sue always says, you know, when we're not stable, we got one foot in one canoe, another foot in another canoe. And she just says, just pick a canoe. It doesn't matter what you pick, just be there, just own it. And I had been in, you know, doing practically Chinese splits in 2 different canoes with my dear friend that lives here, saying, you know, they're scared. I'm depressed. I'm wishing coronavirus would take me out. And they're saying, you got to go to the doctor and get blood work. And if I had had both feet in my own canoe, I would have been able to speak my truth and just say, I love you too. I'm scared too. I know you're really scared, to my husband. And I'm not going to go to the doctor. I'm not going to get blood work because whatever they tell me, I'm not going to do it. And so I hope you didn't hear that.
I did, but it's okay.
Let me.
Dang. Is your Facebook open or something?
Well, no, but I'm on my laptop and messages are coming in and I need to learn how to turn off the sound. So I apologize.
Okay. It's a sign of how popular you are.
These days, man, I'm pretty darn popular because after you start embodying, man, the world just opens up and manifestations pop up like daisies along the path. Incredible.
Mm.
So that night, after I anchored with Suzanne, I was so grateful that she was right there and handy. And she's on this, you know, she's got it, as Sue's one of Sue's very best friends. And that night I danced all night to the live band that was playing at the hotel, at the resort.
Wow. So you found some kind of a bottom and then started coming back up.
Well, there is no bottom. What I did was our mind gets us to where we are. Our mind gets us to feeling stuck or feeling lost or feeling, I was feeling like the biggest energy codes flunky ever. And, Dr. Sue, she says, well, just remember, there's nothing wrong, there's nothing broken, and there's nothing missing. And I'm like, I'm wrong, I'm broken, I'm missing. I've been doing this work for nearly 5 years. And that's a great story too, because we were all at the same Celebrate Your Life.
Yes.
November 2015.
That's so crazy. That was when I met her.
Yeah, that's when I met her too. And I have a great story about Lynn, if we can go there later.
We can go anywhere.
Yeah. So let me just wrap this up. And so ever since that opening I had in Costa Rica, I had another giant opening about my bus stop that I had no awareness about. And then it's just been, since quarantine, I started a company, launched a whole new business, got offered an amazing opportunity. And I'm doing, my new business is a retreat business in Costa Rica.
Wow. Oh,
so that's a whole
nother. You said you're going back to Costa Rica like every year, right? I mean, it's not like for a chunk of you're going back. It sounded like you were going many times.
Well, yeah, that's a detail that still needs to be ironed out with the people that own the property. Mm-hmm. But yes, and if it's not going to be with them, I'll figure out another place to hold my retreats. But yeah, because as soon as quarantine lifts, mm-hmm. I'm going back to Costa Rica.
And who are is this in Nosara?
No, the houses are in Malpais, which is at the very southern tip of the peninsula. And I'd rather not talk about it because we can talk off camera about it because it's a miraculous story.
Okay, of course. And so, but this has all developed since and because of Costa Rica.
Yes. And I'm moving my kids to Australia mid-November. Yeah, so did you see all the pictures from the bonfire that we did on the beach in Costa Rica?
Yes.
It was the last night.
I
Well,
think,
I'm laying there in the sand, looking up at the stars. It's beautiful. I have on, like, I don't remember what I had on, but like a sundress or something. And I'm laying in the sand, and a tear just rolls out, and it's like, I need to get a house here in Costa Rica, and my kids are moving to Australia before the end of the year. And they happened.
wow.
Yeah, so they're happening. My kids are mad, but
Really?
oh yeah, this is funny. I feel like
Well, we didn't even say you're in California. So you're in Santa Clara,
Cupertino.
Cupertino, right? I've been to your house. I've met your snakes. I was
Yes.
wondering if we could see them. Um, and so you're leaving California? Is this part of you?
Well, I'm going to be in Australia for 7 weeks getting them set up.
Mm,
My husband's coming too.
yeah.
Yeah. But like I said, they were angry. They're still angry, and it's still not real to them. And they're like, "Mom, what do you expect us to do?" I said, "I expect you to get some really cool tribal tattoos. I expect you to learn how to surf. I expect you to get a really sexy Australian accent. And I expect you to learn how to bum around, meet people, and enjoy it." And they're like, "All right, Mom, whatever."
So why Australia?
Because we're all huge crocodile hunter fans.
Mhm.
Do you remember who he was?
Yes.
And his zoo is called Australia Zoo. It's in Queensland.
Mhm.
And many years ago, I looked into having my kids do an internship there. And they said, pretty much we accept everybody's application. And this is my children's world is exotic animals and sharing their information with the public and with children.
Mhm.
So they were made to be at Australia Zoo. And they said the only thing is you can only apply from inside Australia. And so I said, okay, that's good to know. So that's what we're doing. We're going to move them there, have them apply for, I don't remember if they're 6 or 8 week internships at Australia Zoo. And I'm sure they're going to offer my son a job.
Mhm.
I mean, there's no way they wouldn't, because he's just this gorgeous 6'2", beautiful, well-built, charming, knowledgeable, perfect spokesman for mostly reptiles.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So are they the inspiration behind how many snakes do you have?
I don't remember. Maybe we have 11 or 10 or I don't know, 9.
But a lot. So I thought that was your thing, but is it theirs or both or all or?
Well, luckily they inherited my obsession with exotic animals.
Okay.
And we did have a phase in our life where we were a rescue for the Bay Area Amphibian and Reptile Society. I coordinated the adoption section, and there were animals that needed rescuing, and I would take in a sizable donation, give it to the society, and then give a home to those animals, and that's how we got most of them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So Daisy, the big yellow one, she's
Mhm.
a rescue. They're mostly all rescues.
And what's the name of the black one that I held in my hand?
Obsidian.
What's that?
Obsidian.
Obsidian, of course. Yes. Yeah. Which is funny because if you ask me what two things, uh, I would generally say I'm not frightened of anything in this world except snakes and my son dying. These are the only two things, really.
Right.
Uh, and there I was holding your snakes, and it felt easy. Like you make it easy. That's the thing. You make it
Well, you're
comfortable.
open.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're open. We help people get over their fear of snakes in like 10 minutes. I mean, these are people that are terrified that we're at an event like the county fair, and everybody's got a snake, and they see us and they shriek and run away, and we kind of walk after them and just say, I'm just going to stand here, and I want you to stand here and talk to me while I hold the snake. And within 10 minutes, they're holding it.
Isn't that amazing? Wow.
Yeah, my son is particularly amazing at doing that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only other time I was exposed to snakes, so one-on-one, was in Vietnam. I was traveling with my partner, and we went to a snake farm
Oh,
in Vietnam that was, I put a boa around my neck, and I was laughing and crying so hard. I mean, it was so freaked out by that energy.
right.
I loved seeing them, and I loved watching them in their own habitat, but whew, I don't know if it's like the power that they have. It is. It's a really, especially boas, you know, the idea that they can swallow a person, or they can, I mean, crush a person or whatever. Like, that's the part that freaks me out.
You can't. Pythons could.
Python, that's what I'm confusing sorry.
Yeah, like a reticulated python and a Burmese python and an anaconda.
Yes.
They can take out a human, but the boas, no, not at all.
I meant python. You see, that's how much I know about snakes. Nothing.
Well, you did good. I just am remembering now, Sue in Egypt. Oh,
I haven't been to Egypt with her.
yeah. Well, she holds the cobra, and then it just does that. It looks like it died. I'll send you the pictures.
Wow.
Yeah, I helped a lot of people hold those cobras, and those cobras, poor thing. They're all defanged and they're totally harmless, and people don't know that, so they really are scared to hold them, but they're completely harmless. It's a cruel practice.
Oh.
Just like the in Vietnam, that snake farm, they're raised for their skins.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a horrible.
They also put them in wine. They literally sell snake wine at the end, and
I believe it.
snakes and oh gosh. Oof.
I know it's a tragic animal cruelty story.
Wow.
A lot of them are, especially in Thailand. And
Oh, just when I thought they were taking care of them.
well,
Not really. That was it was a tourist trap.
it's a tourist trap, and it's a means of production for their business, because snake skin, snake bodies, it's lucrative, right? Especially Chinese medicine. I'm sure they sell to all kinds of things,
Yeah.
all kinds of different products.
So, the thing I thought that we would talk about most was food, because like,
Okay.
think of you in India, I think of you and how careful you were about everything you ate all the time. So careful.
Yeah.
And I remember getting to a point sort of towards the end. I guess it was when we were at that place above the Ganges.
Right.
And I had been eating naan 3 meals a day because it was so amazing and so good there. And I could feel it in my face. I could feel like hives or something, my skin was getting all messed up. And I thought, oh, darn, I've hit critical mass. I can't eat any more of this. And I literally just had to stop completely with the flour. But you never went there. You were.
I don't have a choice.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
No, I walk a very fine line, and wheat I have an allergy to, and it gives me pretty significant asthma.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's one thing about India, is that the heat, is pretty humid, right, and hot. And the food that they offered us was incredibly salty. I don't know if I was really struggling.
I like salty. Yeah.
I do too, but I want to put the salt on my own food, not have it be there. And so, when you had me in the Ganges, that picture that I have on my Unbounded Inner Love page, I don't know if you've really seen it. You took it, but I don't look like myself because I'm incredibly swollen from eating all the food with the salt. And so I look at that picture and I can appreciate it now. But before, at the end of February and backward, I was like, "Ow, I look like a duck," because I was just so poofy.
Mm.
Yeah. So anyway, what do you want to talk about as far as food?
Well, so this is like completely me hypothesizing, but you would maybe know these answers. I was texting with Pramod, our guide.
Yeah, I talk to Promoted kind of a lot.
Oh, nice. Hi, Pramod. Hope you
Hi,
see.
Promote. Mwah, mwah.
So I was curious, and I am curious, and time will tell how this virus will move in India. Because
Oh,
in America, we were very concerned about, oh, if you touch this and it transmits on the surface and that. But I'm more interested in what happens once you have touched it, or, whatever, it's in your body. Because we all have viruses all the time. We're fighting them all the time. Same as cancer. We have it all the time. But our immune system takes care of it.
right.
And I didn't know until I was listening to Sue talk about fear. I know that stress causes an acidic environment in your body. I didn't know that fear also, but that makes sense because fear is a kind of stress. And I said, in a country with more vegetarians, will things happen differently?
Well, let, let me just jump in.
Yeah.
They're vegetarian, but they're not vegan. Okay.
Okay.
And so they eat a lot of dairy.
Oh.
And
Which is acidic also.
well, dairy is highly acidifying to the body,
Mm-hmm.
and it feeds viruses.
Ah,
So there's a few main things that no human ought ever eat, and it's eggs, dairy, pork, and chicken. And yeah,
really?
yeah, oh yeah,
Uh-oh.
and grains, but that's another story. Like rice, brown rice is okay, but white rice isn't. Blah blah blah.
Okay,
But
keep going.
well, yeah. So the eggs and the dairy are the main sources of food for viruses. So the only way to really protect yourself from pandemic, because we're just entered a world of pandemic, right? I mean,
Right.
it's been happening, but we've entered into a whole new dimension of pandemic. And I don't know if you read my long post about pandemic. I'll tag you. I think it's well written.
Okay.
But the only way to protect yourself is from the inside out, like Sue says.
Mm-hmm.
And like Anthony Williams says, who's my other guru, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's because of him that I stopped eating eggs, because I had Lyme disease, which is a virus,
Of course.
and I had it. In fact, right before that, it was same year before I went to India. What I learned from Anthony William is that I really got Lyme disease from stress. Everyone thinks it's from ticks. Everyone's all panicked about the ticks out here. And if you look at his list of the 25 things that cause Lyme disease, the ticks are number 25.
Right.
And stress is number 1.
Right. And the reason is that when you open yourself up to vulnerability with your immune system, then you're going to be a perfect host for whatever you're already carrying to manifest. And
Right.
that's where the stress comes in.
Right. And so then he talks about feeding viruses, and he says viruses love eggs. And
Yeah.
I thought, okay, no eggs. And I was seeing a kinesiologist who, does the muscle testing, like this with my arm. And she was very strict and said, you need to completely change your diet. So no eggs, no meat, no dairy, no gluten. Basically, she said vegetables, maybe a little bit of fish, and maybe some brown rice.
What about fruit?
She didn't want me having any sugar, including fruit. And
Yeah.
Anthony William is a big fruit person.
Big fruit guy.
Big fruit guy. And I actually don't eat a lot of fruit, which
I would if I were you.
You would? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Sydney eats more than I do. And it's mostly bananas. I prefer like oranges, and I love apples. Okay, so more fruit.
Yeah, and bananas are really antiviral.
Oh, really?
So that's good.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. And I would pair that with dates If you're going to eat banana, eat a date with it, because it's a perfect combination of the sodium that you need and the glucose that your brain needs. Because people always believe that our brain functions off of fat, but it functions off glucose. And the best sugars for our brain are fruit sugars.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah. And, you know, when my mom was transitioning, she wasn't eating sugar at all. And she reached a point where we just said, you know, eat what you want. And she was eating a pie and a half of Marie Callender's coconut cream a day. Okay. And my mom was she thought she was a health nut her whole life, but she was eating eggs and dairy and, you know, but her dementia went away because she was finally feeding her brain. She had horrible dementia.
Well, you know, I've had so much trouble concentrating and focusing.
Ah, eat the fruit.
Oh my gosh. I need to go get some fruit right now.
Yeah, eat the oranges.
More oranges. Yeah. Oh, you just went mute.
I know.
Oh, Denise. Sorry. Wow, that is so good to know. And yes, we used to have dates around here. I also, like last year, I wanted to lose weight because I just couldn't look at myself.
You lost a lot of weight.
Yeah, I lost about 30 pounds.
Yeah, you look great.
And thank you. And I had to do it, you know, I had to do it the way I had to do it, which was eating food that I can barely call food. And I'm not even going to tell you what it is because you just beat me. So I did what I had to do. It worked. I'm happy. And I do feel like I need to get out of that mindset and go back to real and healthy food.
Yeah, well, when you're ready for your beating, you can share what you ate.
I'll come to Costa Rica for my beating.
Yes, come to Costa Rica.
So what are you eating right now that's like keeping you healthy?
Well, right now I didn't finish all my lunch, but this is sweet potatoes with raw green onions and salsa.
Mm-hmm.
You see that? So I eat fat-free until dinner to just support the detoxing of my liver.
Oh, okay. Do you eat tomatoes, or are those too acidic?
No, I have salsa on my.
Oh, okay, salsa with an ant.
Yeah,
Um,
and then I do my celery juice every morning, empty stomach, nothing by mouth, 30 minutes before, 30 minutes after. My heavy metal detox smoothie to just get rid of all the plastics that we're ingesting, because you know you drink out of a plastic bottle and you're getting plastic
nice.
in your body, right? And it takes out MSG from the body, because over the years it was very common to have MSG in Chinese food.
I remember.
And that's a cumulative issue that collects in the brain.
Wow.
And also the heavy metals.
So what's in a detox smoothie?
It's Anthony Williams' recipe. It's 2 bananas, 2 cups of wild frozen blueberries.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not the cultivated blueberries, the big fat juicy ones, the little tiny.
Little ones. I have those.
Yeah, and then some spirulina.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't take this, but it's barley grass juice powder, because I'm allergic to grass, and that's why I'm allergic to wheat. The barley grass right now it still gives me asthma.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm avoiding grass for right now.
Gotcha.
And then 2 dates and 2 oranges and a handful of Atlantic sea dulse, which is a sea vegetable,
Mm-hmm.
like a seaweed.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget what else, but that's pretty much it. I can send you the recipe.
Wow, I like that. Is that in his first book? I mean, I have.
I think so.
I feel like it is. I have at least 3 of his books.
Yeah.
Because of the Lyme disease, because of what my kinesiologist said, and I got through it and past it so quickly that when she saw me again, so I have 2 different people. There's a he who gave me the book, but the she who solved it all for me the first time. She saw me, I'm going to say 3 weeks after my original attack. She couldn't believe it. She tested me again. She said, it's gone. It's just gone.
Yeah.
And that was almost entirely diet. I mean, I took an antibiotic because she said, you have the kind that I needed it's funny, I needed the anti-malaria. I needed the thing that you take for malaria, Malarone.
Oh.
Which some people were thinking would help with this virus.
Mm.
But I'm so shocked that no one is talking about diet.
Right?
I,
It's
I'm
everything.
shocked. I mean, everyone's talking like vaccine. I'm like, hey, people. So I have a friend who I'd love to talk to this way as well, who is in San Diego, and she was working at a shelter to help, not a shelter, a food pantry to help supply food. And she had to leave because she said, I cannot in good conscience put this toxic sugar
In
process
other people. Yeah.
into children's like boxes for food.
Right. Exactly.
It's not food, it's poison. We're literally giving them the thing that will make them sick.
Right.
And that is just, it's shocking to me that that message is not more clear.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's ignorance or money. Is it?
It's ignorance, because I think people would do better if they knew better, but they just don't know better. So they're just lumbling along.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I had to wonder, I wonder when all of this settles down and, we have more data and numbers and things like that, was it the Italian diet that had such a big impact in Italy?
Well, they eat a lot of grain, right?
Pasta, egg, flour,
Yeah.
um,
So
wine.
yeah, alcohol is not good for the liver,
Yeah.
So it's it's hard to say, but you would think that the Mediterranean diet would be pretty good, but if you know what we know,
Yeah.
you see the
Well,
whole.
and also if you are in a condition of being locked down, then you're going to also eat differently and eat different things because you don't have access. Like I don't have right now I have 0 vegetables except some
Oh, really?
frozen Brussels sprouts. So I'm hoping we go get something today. But yeah, I think we're out of fruit, out of vegetables. And that's not normal in my house. So push comes to shove, we'd eat rice and beans, but.
Right. And for me, that's what I eat are fruits and vegetables. And so if I don't have that, I'm kind of don't have any food.
Yeah. And it's just hard. Like, so I was going to make a little meme because, my grocery list before was like, asparagus and broccoli and lettuce. And I had this whole list of things. Now I'm like, anything green, anything fruit,
Right.
whatever there is, I'll take it.
Right.
So yeah, how is it there? I mean, how is it for you in Cupertino too? Are you?
I came back from Costa Rica with something, but I know also that anytime we do heavy expansion, we're going to go through an anchoring, and one of the anchoring is detox, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I came back and I was heavily detoxing, and actually I think today's like one of the first days I'm not sucking on a lozenge. So from day November, I'm stuck in the past. When I came home on March 8th, I went out to dinner March 9th,
Mm-hmm.
and I actually hugged a stranger, and I was already maybe carrying this virus. And that was the last time I was out in public. I've been home. I haven't left the house, which is normal for me, being incapacitated. You just get kind of used to, having a very small scope in life. So.
Yeah, I guess I feel like I haven't been out in public. I haven't been to town. Town is 2 blocks away, and I haven't been there in a week.
Yeah.
But I do go to the woods because that's where I get my sanity.
Right. Well, my husband does all of our grocery shopping because he prepares all of my food.
Wow.
Michael, mwah, I love you, Michael. So he does all that. So I haven't been to the grocery store, haven't been out. So for me, I was laughing because the other day I asked my daughter, I said, "Hey, Aria, are you going to work today?" And she goes, "Mom, we're in lockdown." And I'm like, "Oh my goodness, we are," because this is just how we live.
Right.
All of us are home and we're doing our own thing, and we come together sometimes just to talk or whatever, or everybody's making food. We're like roommates. Everybody's making food and eating at the same time. So we'll maybe sit at the table together. But this is normal for us.
And I remember that you have bees in your backyard. Do you also grow vegetables and things like that?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah. Our volunteer tomatoes haven't come up yet. So we're actually probably going to have to plant some plants. But we have our property is surrounded by fruit trees.
Right. Nice.
So we have fruit, but so those are just blossoming now. And then our whole front yard, we have this hill that we call Mount Plebin. And it's a long story. That's my husband's last name. But it's covered in rainbow chard and lettuce. So, and what else do we have? Lemons. Can
And
you see my lemon tree out behind me?
I see many colorful things, but nothing looks like a lemon. Oh, yeah.
That
Oh,
tree is
my goodness. That's beautiful.
those are Meyer lemons. So they're bliss.
Oh, you like them? My stepmother hates them.
Well, they're sweet, so I like them.
That's why she doesn't like them. She wants her lemons to be
Tart.
sweet. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, on a really warm day, I can smell the honey from the hives, and they're just right here, right next to my lemon patio. And the lemons, and it's just, the old cartoons like Tweety Bird, how they float around following a scent. That's how I feel in my backyard.
Oh, nice. So you have like virtual lemonade right behind you
Oh, yeah. And
all the
I
time.
make it every day with our honey. I go through 3 pounds of honey every week and a half.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Do you sell it to anybody?
I do, and our honey is for a 3.5 pound jar. It's $48, so it's not cheap.
Right. I remember I forgot to bring my honey when I left your house, remember?
So you left it here?
I did.
Oh,
Do you remember that?
no.
I remember that because I was really sad.
Well, hopefully, maybe you'll be around in September because I'm going to visit Lil.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and if you're around, I'll come visit you and I'll bring you honey.
Wait, Lil is in New York?
Oh yeah,
I didn't know that.
she's in Manhattan in this apartment that's bigger than my house.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's why I'm going to visit her because she goes, "You have to come see this."
Wow. Great. So you have, but the thing about honey is, isn't it best for you when it's local? Because
Yeah.
it should help with your asthma, right?
Well, yeah, I don't have asthma unless I eat wheat, but yeah, and it does. How come all of a sudden I'm so dark? Oh, there. I don't know. But it doesn't matter. Raw honey, no matter where it's from, is ideal for the body.
Okay.
Because I brought honey back from Costa Rica. It's pasteurized. It's not good.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have to dig into my Anthony Williams books a little bit more.
And just reach out to me and I can hone things down because you know how much information he has. It's kind of
Yeah.
hard to navigate.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
just need a couple I need I need a better breakfast.
What are you eating for breakfast?
Oh, I'm gonna get beaten for this. Okay, so my coffee makes me very happy, and I'm never gonna let you take that away from me. Sorry.
Well, I'm not the boss of you, so it's not even possible.
But it's the bar that I have that I don't normally eat sugar at all, but because it's part of this diet plan, it's sort of my morning fuel.
Oh, you mean the diet plan that I would beat you for?
Yes, that one.
I got it.
That one. but hey, that diet plan worked for me when nothing else was working, and
That's
menopause.
'cause you weren't curious about Anthony William, that's all.
What's that?
The only reason that Anthony Williams protocols didn't make you just drop the weight
Mm.
was because you weren't serious about it. Like,
Exactly. And
it's
and also he's complicated. I mean, you just said it. Like there's a lot of information to go through to get what you need to get. And I needed simple because I needed not to be thinking about food and in
do
the
you
kitchen.
have do you have life-changing foods?
Yes. Yes.
That's a great place to start.
Yeah.
Um,
So I'm ready for that, except for the fact that now I can't go into the local health food store and get anything, but I can make a list. And the list can be as complicated as I want it to be because
right,
they'll just deliver it.
right. So just let's talk. We can talk offline, and I can give you recommendations. Like for me, breakfast is my detox smoothie.
Okay.
That's what I have every morning.
I like that. I would also love for my son to be having that every morning.
Yeah, my kids love the smoothie.
Okay.
So,
Excellent. Yeah. And I know a lot of moms out here who are, they're now dealing with cooking for huge families,
oh, really?
3 meals a day. I mean, a lot of people
Well,
from New York,
because they're in at home.
because they're at home, the kids are at home, they came from the city, they're in houses that are big, so they have space, so they have even more people there. I have a really good friend, she's cooking for 6 every day, 3 times a day. Whew, that is a lot of work.
Yeah.
Keeping it healthy, keeping it,
Oh, yeah. It's a
yeah,
lot. I wouldn't do it, but
yeah. Well, I don't think I could do it. We sort of manage independently most of the day, and then I'll
yeah.
make something for dinner.
Oh, see, you're nice. I manage because Michael makes my food, and I cook for my animals,
Mhm.
but I don't cook for anybody else. I will, he's leaving to go kayaking as soon as quarantine's over,
Mhm.
because he does that every year. He kayaks around Vancouver Island.
Hmm.
So I'll be on my own. I'll need to make food. That's why I'm leaving, because then I can just, you know, go to Mexico, get all my teeth fixed, go to Cancun, be at the Westin where Dr. Sue holds level 2. I'm going to visit with a student, and then I'll come home and go straight to Costa Rica. So,
Wow.
yeah.
One last question. What's the thing with chicken? Because that's pretty much our main thing here.
Yeah, well, all of the pandemics that we've had, like SARS and MERS and all those, they're all zoonotic, which means they came from it was animal contact via animal protein. People were eating these things, and then they got this whole new virus sprung up. So it was a cross species invention, basically. Because before, like bubonic plague and um, I'm forgetting the others. Those were all bacterial, and then we moved into the age of viruses thanks to medical research on viruses. That's how we got here. So
Hmm.
I won't go into that, but so eating like SARS was something that was born from chickens, right? And so they're just, because chickens are raised in those really monoculture environments where it's all gazillion chickens, all
Horrible.
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 They're the chicken that we eat has become more susceptible to viruses and carrying viruses. And even though, viruses don't live in the muscle tissue necessarily, it just invites in a whole load of viruses that you just don't want to foster. And today, even in this day and age, if you got pastured chicken, which is better, it's still chicken. And viruses love chicken. I don't know exactly the mechanics and the science behind that, but that's what Anthony says. And he's adamant about not eating chicken.
Hmm.
So I'm not going to question spirit, right?
What does he say about fish?
Fish is fine as long as it's not farmed.
Right.
And he also You know, he just thinks that keeping the animal protein low is important because animal protein equals fat. There's so if you're having, you know, I don't know, like a turkey sandwich, you're having a fat sandwich. That's just one thing that
Oh,
we don't acknowledge. I'm hearing an echo.
uh, it's a bit echoey. That's okay.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. What are we? It's an hour 13. I think we're interesting. I think we had a lot to say.
Yeah, and I still want to tell that story about meeting Geraldine because we.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Can I jump in?
Yeah.
Well, at that Celebrate Your Life conference, she and I didn't know it was her. She and I. Well, let me just. I sat down in a workshop and I thought, this is not the workshop for me. And there was a woman 2 seats down.
I did the same thing.
I know. That's why I'm remembering because I heard you talking to Mary about it.
Yeah.
And so there was a woman like 2 seats down, and I looked at her, and she looked at me, and we're like, ah. And so then I said, if you go, I'll follow you, so that we're not rude, you know, because we were sitting like in the third row. And so she got up and walked out, and I got up and bowed to the woman presenting, just because, you know, you don't want to turn your back on a teacher, and I wanted to be respectful. So I bowed and I kind of backed up, and then I turned around and left. So then the following February, I'm on the Nile with Dr. Sue, and this woman comes up to me and she said, I know you. You and I walked out of so-and-so's talk at Celebrate Your Life. And I said, that was you? She goes, that was me. And that was Geraldine.
That's crazy.
Isn't that an amazing story?
So Geraldine was like this magnet at the event.
She sure was.
Because so the part of the story I didn't tell when I was talking with Mary. So I said that we were in a conference. We hugged. You know, she knew I was the fuzzy vest girl. Then we broke.
Oh, that's right.
We broke into little groups of, I don't know, it was 6 people or something, and we were supposed to go around and say something, do something. I don't remember. And Geraldine wanted to be in my group. Like maybe this was even after lunch. I don't know. But she was very conscious that she wanted to be in my group. And then something happened with the chairs, and she kind of got pulled out of the group. Like somebody took her chair. She went to go get someone else a chair, and then someone took her chair, and then there weren't enough chairs, and boom. So she was really kind of bummed that she was like, no. I felt like I was supposed to meet you, or I was supposed to be with you, which of course that all happened anyway. And, you know, you can't keep these 2 souls apart that want to be together.
That's right.
There were a number of people who are now part of Dr. Sue's community who were there at that.
In that same all-day workshop. It was Monday. Did you go to Monday with Sue?
No, Monday I was in Joe Dispenza.
Okay.
But I met someone there who is now also a dear friend. And again, like our paths were like this the whole weekend. We didn't meet. And then she was sitting right next to me. And then she was working with the person, like, you know, you have to, Joe makes you always like turn and ask if you understand what's going on to the person next to you. And so we were always with our backs to each other. But then during yoga or something, some meditation, and her knees kept bumping into me. So she was like, oh, I'm sorry. And I was like, who is this lady? Like keeps bumping me over here. And then we ended up connecting afterwards. And I love this woman. And like, we were supposed to meet and it wasn't happening. And we just made it happen a different way.
Yeah. And you know what? It just does. It just happens whether you like it or not. You'll just keep running into somebody. Mm-hmm. And I have dear friends that I met at that conference. Yeah. I mean, I went alone too. I just took a risk. I was doing, I signed up for Denise Lynn's, her retreat, which was in Sedona right after Celebrate Your Life. And so I thought,
we met at her thing on the Friday. We were with Denise Lynn on the Friday. That's how I met Geraldine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had my first major spiritual opening with Denise Lynn at the San Jose Performing Arts Center.
Okay.
Major. I mean, I thought I was going to have to call 911, but that's another story. I'm serious. Because I was so not able to anchor what was pouring through me that I couldn't walk or talk or stand, and I was choking and gagging. And yeah, it's a great story. I'll tell it another time.
That's when
But
you come back and you're a return guest on the show.
okay. Yeah. So, but yeah, Kathleen Bratcher was there. She met Dr. Sue there, and same with Cat Wells, and I'm sure lots of other people, people that you
Yeah.
know. But those are the two that come to mind.
It's just, it's extraordinary to me what a tight community is sort of constellating around her, and is being created around her. And it's, God, it's just such an amazing, supportive, strong, grounded, powerful network of people.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. I feel so fortunate that I got into the conversation when I did. Just like you, we've been to Sue's house. That's not going to happen anymore. You know, I know. I know.
We went to India, there were 16 people, and I thought that was a lot.
What do you mean 16 people?
I mean, the tour, the trip, there were 16 or something like 16 people on that trip. Was it 19?
With Dr. Sue?
Yes.
Oh gosh, no, there were so many more.
Not in India. That was the
Really?
smallest. Yeah, it was the smallest group she's probably ever had, because all the other ones are like 50 people.
Right. Wasn't it 50 people in India? Really?
Close.
What's so beautiful about Dr. Sue's Journey Awakes is that it could be 100 people, but because everybody's energy is just so gorgeous,
Yeah.
we just melt into this one unit and
Yeah.
have these expansive
I know.
experiences, and it doesn't feel like you're with anybody except your very best friend,
Yeah, whoever that is, like whoever you sit with
Happens
on the
to
bus.
be.
And I used to say, I mean, my ex and I had this pact that, if you ever see me on a tour bus, shoot me. And
Exactly.
that's how we felt about group travel.
Exactly. I had the same thing, but man, when she said she was going to Egypt, that was in November, at that Celebrate Your Life. She said, I'm going to Egypt in November. I mean, she said it was November. She said, I'm going in whenever. It was the end of February or March. I forget when it was.
Mm.
And I said, oh, that's just way too soon for me to go. So then I did level 1 right after that. And I guess it was end of January, February. I don't remember, but I did level 1, and they were leaving the following week for Egypt. And
You went.
I listened to this. I came home, the level 1 ended at 4:00 on Sunday. I came home the next day, and I talked to my husband, and I said, is there any reason why I couldn't go to Egypt next Monday? And he looks at me, he's all, no, you can go. And I'm like, awesome, I'm going to go. And I packed, and I went to Egypt.
Wow.
In a week. And I thought here, November to whenever it was not enough time, but apparently I just needed a week.
Wow.
Yeah. Amazing, life-changing trip. And number 2 was just as equally mind-blowing, but in a totally different way.
Ooh, yeah, I wonder how, just travel in general is going to change because of all this.
Well, we'll see.
But we'll find out.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, this was super great talking to you. I loved seeing your beautiful face. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm very, very excited to have had this time with you, because I've been wanting to talk to you for a while. So
Oh, great.
it so happened that I get to be interviewed, sort of, and hang out with you on Zoom.
We're just doing something different. It's not an interview. This is just,
well, you know what I mean.
We're sharing ourselves with other people who,
Right.
I'm still convinced my mom is the only one watching, but.
Well, I'm going to go back and see, because I've only seen Mary's interview. I haven't seen anybody else's. And I still need to listen to your podcast about creating videos for social media. Is that what you did?
Did I? Did I do that? I don't think so.
But you know what? I do need to go.
Okay. Awesome.
So
To be continued whenever, wherever.
thank you, and I love you.
Thank
Mwah.
you. I love you, Miss Tanya.
I love you so much. Thank you so much. This was great.
This was awesome.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.